Yeah, it's a Sean rant today. We're going to leave twos in the background for a second or two. I'm planning the Cornerstone Forum and went to Calgary. And I'm thinking, Calgary can't be that bad. I watched how many people lose venues and everything else. It can't be that bad. Grey Eagle Casino. I'm going to let twos do the explicitives for me. But a phone call. And I don't know if I've ever been treated that way on a phone call. Like, I can't believe, like, the Cornerstone Forum, if you have no clue, like, bringing in a bunch of people, talking about economy, maybe some problems we're going to face here in Canada. We got lots of those. And everybody's just terrified of life. And I'm talking about businesses. It's like, if you're a private business, do you want to make money? Do you want people to come in and use your facilities? I don't know. Twos? Do you think anybody wants to make money these days? Maybe I should just stay in Lloyd where people are like, oh, fuck, let's talk about some shit. You go to Calgary, it's like, well, you got a conference? One-day conference? We don't want that. Like, you don't want a one-day conference? What are you talking about?
It's a decision made by one person who, the downside of it is that maybe something doesn't get booked that day, doesn't affect their livelihood. But if it goes wrong for them, that could be a career limiting or even ending move. The thing that people need to realize is that almost all the time, these are very normal, rational conversations, and they're conversations that people want to have. And it's just a matter of time before people start cluing into that and realize that, oh, hey, you know what? This is probably a fairly lucrative market. And I would do really well for me and my company by embracing these conversations.
First off, Leanne Taylor, good morning to you as well. I couldn't believe it. My rage level went I was ready to just jump through the phone and kill the man. And I didn't say anything. I calmed myself, but I was just like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It's like, how many people are you bringing? I'm like, well, 500, give or take. We're going to be there the full day, lunch, supper. Heck, if you got a bar, they'll probably have a few celebratories. Can have people coming all over the place. Hotel. Mm-hmm. Well, you got to do this and this. We're not that interested. I'm like, but what if I do this and this? Yeah, we're probably just not that interested. I'm like, you realize how insane you sound.
Yeah. Hi, right? I would like to spend money at your establishment. No,
not
thank
allowed.
You.
Not allowed. Oh, boy. Mashup 122, folks. Thanks for tuning in on a Friday morning. We got a whole lot going on. Let's start here. Mashup 122 brought to you by Taylor King Real Estate. Taylor has 6 years under his belt in the real estate market. And before that, he was 17 years as a sales manager in the car business. Basically, he's a lifelong salesman, and he does all residential real estate between Carstairs and High River acreages as well. It doesn't matter if you're buying or selling. His own words here. If you don't like real estate agents, which is quite understandable, you've probably, it's funny how real estate agents kind of get lumped in with a class of people. Why is that?
Well, it's because it ends up being a very expensive thing. And if you're not absolutely blown away, like, why did I just spend $8,000? Why did I give this guy $8,000 when all he did was fill out a couple forms and drive me around for an afternoon or whatever else? And typically, I feel like with a lot of the run-of-the-mill real estate agents, people don't see a lot of value in retrospect. And
fair. Because when you think about a real estate agent, they come in for like this really tiny moment of your life, important moment. Don't want to.
Yes.
And then, and so, I guess going back to Taylor's words, he goes, you want somebody who really cares about acting in your best interest, so make sure you get the best possible deal. Isn't that what we all want? We want to know that we're getting we got somebody in our corner that's working for us, not just collecting the paycheck. I don't know. It's probably true of a lot of different things. And, I like here too. He says he's pro-West, pro-convoy, anti-Trudeau. I feel like, that sentiment should be easy to get along with. You're not walking in going, am I dealing with a liberal? Is this person going to freak out when I say a couple comments, and I don't think Taylor's going to have any issue with you speaking your mind.
This guy. So if you ever go to his home and you see his office. It's full of large Legos that he's built and absolutely full of awards. Even though it's, well, I mean, 6 years is a decent amount of time, but you look at the amount of awards and you're like, 6 years? It's impressive. But right outside his office on the wall is that picture of the guy with no shirt in Ottawa smoking a cigarette in front of all the cops.
I guess to wrap this up, for all your real estate needs between Carstairs and High River, head to tkre.ca. You can also find them on Instagram at Taylor King Real Estate. There you go. So there's Mashup 122. Shout out to Taylor King Real Estate for all your real estate needs. Head over there. Okay. And then we have the Mashup collection. If anyone is interested in repping a little rooster on their chest, maybe a coffee mug with a little rooster on it.
Yeah, I love how the back picture is like, this has nothing on it. Yes, it's the back of the mug.
That's right. Thank you. You can head over that. I'll toss it in the show notes. And then what else? Before Happy Airborne Friday, Jamie and group. If you're listening to this, make sure you like, share, folks. Independent
smoke signals, subscribe, you name it.
Please share it. We require you fine folks to break through the different algorithms, to break through the government nonsense, and we don't have a big budget to make sure that it hits every phone on the planet. So we appreciate any help.
You know what? The thing about it is that even with a big budget, as we're going to see later, things still don't go out to a lot of people unless they're really, really bad.
Fair. Coots 4 update. We got 929 days. I mean, that's Christopher Carbett, Anthony Olenek, right? Found not guilty and then not released because they got sentencing. And you're like, I don't understand this. And I'm going to pull up a couple different things. So this afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So 3:30 if you're on the East Coast, 12:30 if you're sitting in BC. We're going to have a live roundtable going with Jason Levine, Viva Fry, Marco Van Hugenbos. And here's one of the updates from Jason Levine. Justice David Lebrens delivered his findings of the fact yesterday, and it was devastating for Chris Carbett and Tony Olenek, starting with the explosives charge on Tony. Justice Lebrens found that Tony had possession. The age of the explosives was undetermined. The creator of the explosives undetermined. The purpose of the explosives undetermined. And the status of the explosives meet Section 2 of the criminal thing. I can do you want me to read through this all too? I want to make sure that
I think if you skip down to the inferences that the judge has made, I think they're quite telling.
Right to the bottom.
Oh, right there. Oh, shoot. I'm looking at it somewhere else and you're scrolling too far past me. But basically that he concluded that he pieced together some pretty sparse things, like how if there was let's just go to the bushels per acre, because I really like that summary. Here, I got it right here.
Bushels per acre. So a 2-month trial.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that found the men not guilty. I thought this summarized as well. Not guilty on conspiracy to murder police, and the judge goes off on a tangent claiming they planned on engaging in a firefight with police, but no evidence showed that as being a possibility to the jury. But the judge recklessly claims that they were going to do it, but there's no evidence of it. But the judge knows that that was their intention, but they were found innocent. And then quoted, Justice David Lebrens said Tuesday that while a jury found Anthony Olenek and Chris Carbett not guilty of conspiracy to murder police at the blockade, it did find the pair guilty of mischief and possessing a weapon for a dangerous purpose. If that didn't make any sense, you get the point.
It's because of our justice system. Now, to be clear, this is the judge concluding that that one of them was preparing to get into a firefight with the police using a 22 and a 12 gauge.
Yes.
We need more people from farms and small towns in our public sector.
Yes. And here's Sheila Gunn Reid. She'd put out Crown is asking for 9 years in prison for Olenek and Carbert, forfeiture and destruction orders on everything seized, and a DNA submission. He also asked for a 10-year fire ban arms for Olenek and a lifetime ban for Carbert. And you get the point. Like, they're having beyond the book thrown him at this point.
Yep.
And it just continues to go along. So what we're going to do this afternoon is we're going to have another round. It'll be the third roundtable I've done on it. It continues to be an issue that is underreported, as we'll probably point out here through Canada.
It's starting to get a little bit more as it's getting crazier and crazier.
It's getting a little bit more,
a little bit more coverage.
Yes. Okay. 122. Let's get this party started, shall we?
Okay, real quick. Community notes call out. If you've got any community events coming up, no matter where you are, put it in the comments and we'll hit them at the end. All right. But here we go. Let's start things off. Here.
Oh man, this is Seth. Johnny Hockey, Johnny Gaudreau. Whether you loved or hated him on the ice, the former Calgary Flame, Columbus Blue Jacket, etc., for all the different teams, passed away last night with his brother. Correct? Bicycle riding incident. They were hit by a car. I guess I could pull it up here. There. Blue Jackets, Johnny Gaudreau and brother Matthew Gaudreau killed in cycling accident. I mean, I don't know. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I got anything else really to say on it other than like to update people and say Johnny Hockey's passed away last night.
Yep.
What the zuck? Well, I tell you, I'm just going to pull this off here. I'll bring it up. So in a letter to Republican Jim Jordan, the Republican chair of the House of Judiciary Committee, Zuckerberg alleges the officials, including those from the White House, repeatedly pressured Facebook for months to take down certain COVID-19 content, including humor and satire. I think, and here's Patrick Bet-David commenting on it. I mean, at the end of the day, we already knew that what they were being told to do, but here's the guy who's running the ship
actually admitting it now,
right? I think that's I was wondering if Twos was going to put this as co-vindication, because once again, this was speculated on, then it came out in Twitter files and on it came out in different things, and now here's him admitting it.
Well, and I mean, why would you need to censor people if what they were saying wasn't true? That's exactly it. But yeah, he literally says that they were telling him, they were pressuring him and telling him what to censor. And while he kind of skirted around it, he said that if we knew now what we knew then, we would have done things differently, which is basically what you're saying.
Yes. And a lot of people hard on Zuck for very good reasons.
Very good reasons.
Right. But I mean, it's coming out.
This is a business decision, man. I think Twitter's eating their lunch. Twitter is getting better and better and more popular, and it's leaving all of the other disreputed social media sites in its dust. And this is an attempt for him to regain relevancy. Or maybe he's actually turned over a new leaf, but I'm going to go cynical before I go altruistic.
Yeah, I had the same thought, just to close that off, is that he's probably looking at Elon Musk. He likes free speech, and he would like to embrace what that market share is doing. So he's appealing and trying to find a way through it in the best way he can.
He's doing everything the Grey Eagle Casino is not.
And here's a great comment. I'll pull it up. Kevin Demon, can Taylor King find a cornerstone venue? That's not a bad ask, Like,
I think we'll need something bigger than a house, but yes.
Poorly named Supreme Court denies co-vindication. Man, you must have switched a few up on me here too.
I did. I realized we're gonna double back here real quick.
Okay. Here, I'll bring it up. The Supreme Court of Canada has declined to hear challenges to COVID vaccine travel mandates. These challenges were advanced by the Honorable Brian Peckford, which I think a lot of us were paying attention to, and then also the Honorable Maxime Bernier, leader of the Federal People's Party. And then it goes on to say, can governments evade judicial scrutiny of mandates made with extraordinary emergency powers? And they wanted
Who watches
Canada's
the
high school.
Watchmen, man?
Yes.
I don't know. Is there anything else in this episode where maybe we worry about the impartiality of our judicial system? We're 5 minutes into it and we've already got 2 stories where the judges are obviously on the page of the government. And that's not a good thing by any stretch. This is Venezuela shit.
It's concerning. And I was so I went for coffee this morning with my brother.
Yep.
And we were talking about what I'm seeing is, there was a wave in COVID of people leaving Canada, right?
Yeah.
There was just a wave. And now I'm seeing a new wave. And it's actually probably more unnerving because they're people I respect and they're leaving because of what Canada's doing. And that stems to the judicial system, to the fact of the economy and a whole bunch of different things. But I'm seeing a new wave of it. And it's like they're fleeing. And it's unnerving, Twos. It's unnerving.
Yeah. Well, that's basically what's happening is people are saying to themselves, I'm getting out of here while I'm still able to.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. No headline, but here is a video of a bunch of farmers in Kitchener.
And it's something you're not going to see anything about, right? Tractors rolling.
Nowhere in the mainstream media did I see anything about this.
Right. So, I mean, we have a slow roll of tractors going on. Shout out to the Canadian Independent. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, we need to get them on here, or I got to get them on the podcast or something. Because, interesting. April 11th, 2024, press conference in Cambridge, Ontario. Ford said he has asked regions and municipalities across the province to assemble land for potential industrial investment purposes, including 770 acres of farmland in Wilmot Township, just outside Kitchener, Ontario. Henceforth, the protest. One of the farmers said he was approached in March 2024 with an offer to buy his land at an unreasonably low price per acre. His Arjo mentioned that the region has plans to start leveling the farmland as early as August 2024, which they said hadn't happened yet. However, none of the 6 landowners are currently willing to sign any agreements to leave, and which has left everything in a state of uncertainty. It's in government proposed bill 185. It's all in to do with that. It's
potential future development.
Correct.
They did something like this down the road and turned it into an EV plant for Volvo, I think it was. And so, yeah, they say Adam van Bergejiki, originally from Holland, is a dairy farmer. Isn't it weird how everybody who moves here from Holland becomes a dairy farmer? And his son Arjo oversees the cattle operation of the business while Adam manages the day-to-day cheese operations. And so, anyway, just harken back to a month or two ago when we talked about that entire trailer.
I just want to point this out before you point out
Yeah.
anything. I'd take a dairy farmer over a whole bunch of other people we're importing that we're putting up in hotels. Just throwing that out there. Just
That's
saying.
fair.
It's nice to have, I don't know, some people working.
I mean, either way, we're giving them a whole bunch of government money to live. But yes, the dairy cartel from Holland, sure.
Somebody we have not heard from in a long time has been DC. Where is Dairy Cartel?
He was literally giving me hell because this new article just broke, and an hour before we go live, he's like, "Hey, you need to talk about this." And I'm like, motherfucker, Sean's gonna kill me already with the amount of stuff I have added.
So the DC is out there. The Dairy Cartel, folks, is harassing the Mashup. Just throwing that out there. That should make headlines. Probably won't make headlines.
But they're trying to kick all these farmers off for potential future development. In Calgary, a few months ago, they auctioned off all of the land that they got from kicking out an entire trailer park. They said, we need this. It's ours now. And they fought and they fought and they eventually lost. And then 7 or 8 years later, like, we changed our mind. We're just going to auction it off. Meanwhile, every single person there got kicked out. So, yeah, the government isn't really your friend, regardless of what level it's at.
The NDP are not a serious party. Post Media Ledger found support for the new Democrats dropped 5% points to 15%. Just 15% of he's just 15% just over a month ago. The Conservatives enjoy a 43% support nationally and a full 18% points ahead of the federal Liberals, who are at 25%. It's just sad that we are being led by
idiots.
Yes. That 15% of the absolute country.
20% to 15%, that's a 25% drop in a month.
Yes.
Imagine you're a politician in Canada at the same time as Justin Trudeau, and your popularity levels are sinking faster than his.
Yes. Well,
that's insane. Like, every time you're just like, this guy cannot possibly get any worse. You just hold my BMW.
A gay old time in Kenya. Man, this should have went in funny news. I mean, if it wasn't so sad. A bisexual man in Canada has been granted 1-year temporary residency just a day before his scheduled deportation to Kenya. An outcome his supporters call a victory for migrant and queer justice, twos.
So, yeah, he pulled out a Hail Mary. He was going to get deported. And then he said, but guys, I'm bisexual. And being deported back to Kenya, where he's from, he would have faced up to 19 years in prison for that, stuff. Anyway, so, yeah. We love to talk about all of these far off lands that we're bringing people from, like they're just these utopias. And we never say, well, why do people want to come here in the first place? Maybe it's because if we let them in, they don't go to jail for entire decades just for stuff that nobody really gives a shit about. And by the way, why are we giving foreign aid to countries that put gay people in jail for 20 years?
Words of wisdom from Kamala. Twos, fire up the old video machine, shall we?
Oh, this is great. I don't know. I'm wondering if we should make this a regular thing over the next couple months. We're not really going to have an effect on the U.S. election. We're not trying to affect the outcome. But I just like watching it burn.
Countries counting on you. All of you. You are leaders. By the very fact that you all are here in this room, doing what you do at this incredible school, doing it as one big team, understanding all of the different parts that fit together to create a team.
That is 25 seconds of absolutely goddamn nothing. And can we please, for the love of God, get Trudeau and Kamala on a panel together at the same time?
Listen, I told James Lindsay this. I'm going to say it again, okay? The United States now has its version of Justin Trudeau. And every time I listen to her talk or get questioned on anything, it's just like, it's word salad. Just like, and not even great word salad. It's just word salad where you're like,
yeah, it's
what did you just say?
A word salad made with kale and goat cheese.
Temporary foreign workers fight against first 2/3 of their name. Okay, there's a lot here, okay? I'm going to start with this. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced changes to the temporary foreign worker program. Employers will be limited to hiring.
Racism. That's racist. Why is he being racist?
It's limited to hiring a maximum of 10% of their workforce through the program, and low-wage worker employment period drops from 2 years to 1. Agriculture, healthcare, construction, and food security sectors will be exempt from the changes. So then you got protests happening across the board because of students who came to Canada. Here's a woman living in Regina says she's worried changes the federal government announced Monday to the temporary foreign worker program may affect her ability to stay here. Quoted, I was 18 when I came here.
Temporary foreign. I've only been able to be here for 5 years. What part of temporary foreign do you not understand?
Quoted, I was 18 when I came here, and now I'm 23. She's worried spending 5 years in a country, this is still her talking, and moving back is really difficult because you've already learned a lot of things about the new country. Now, I'm like, I literally lived in the United States for 4 years, right? That's where I went to college, played hockey there. I'm like, this is the dumbest article I've ever read. It's not tough at all. And you're temporary. You're not Canadian, and I was not American. I didn't go there going, certainly you will have opportunities, right? Coming here, I don't think you just got to shut out all students. You might get some brilliant ones. You might get some absolutely insane ones. But like going to school somewhere doesn't mean all of a sudden you get a rubber stamp at the end saying you're a citizen of that country.
Well, they said I could come here temporarily. Why are they making me leave after only 5 years? Like, lots of people go to school for 5 years. Yeah, they're called doctors. The other part from this article I liked, according to a recent Bank of Canada report, the unemployment rate for immigrants stands at 11.6%, well above, which in this case means almost double, by the way, thanks CBC, the overall unemployment rate of 6.4%. So we need to bring these people in to fill the jobs. We need them. They got to come here and work for us. But their unemployment rate, if that were true, the unemployment rate amongst those people should be at or near 0.
I thought that was cool. Danger Cats.
The other DC. What's up, Uncle Hack? Good to see you, buddy.
Now we're officially getting canceled. For sure, Uncle Hack? I would think. EV idiocy of the week. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, that is, announced Monday that Canada will impose 100% tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. Quoted, today we're taking yet another step to ensure that Canada is the country of choice to make the things that'll drive the new 21st century green economy.
Yeah, so after all of those buying of EV factories all over Ontario, the half dozen different giant multi-billion-dollar bailouts he's giving to factories to build EVs, and then they're walking back the promises, like Ford in some cases. Even after all of that, there still isn't enough people wanting to buy these EVs that are being built in Canada. And so he's now got to go full-on protectionist and put giant tariffs on the Chinese ones. Okay. The second article here is that Calgary, who doesn't have enough money to fix the fucking taps, is going all electric with their public sector buses. They didn't learn from Durham. They didn't learn from Vancouver. They didn't learn from Edmonton and the $250,000 per bus for blankets. They're spending $325 million to get all electric. What
you know who doesn't listen to this show? Mayor Jody
Gondek.
Yeah, she doesn't listen to us. She doesn't listen to the room that says this is going to be a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. I'm sorry for your loss, Calgary, already.
Danger Cat says, I'm not that important anymore. You're fine. Dude, I just saw that video you did yesterday of the Islamic prayers fentanyl thing. That was a brilliant connection. I laughed a lot. You guys should go check it out if you see it.
Update. DEI vigilantism gets the back cuffs. The first female black superintendent in the Toronto police history has been demoted for her role in the 2021 promotions cheating scandal. You may recall we talked about
we covered this a few months ago.
Yep.
She wanted more black people in higher positions, and so
Correct.
she helped them cheat, and then didn't disclose a personal connection in one case when she was reviewing the possibility of their promotion.
Correct. That was Stacey Clark. And she can now, well, it says she engaged in cheating scheme, as Tuesday pointed out, to help black cops vying for promotion, and she will remain a senior officer within the service under her reduced rank of to inspector. Sorry, remain as an inspector. And it goes on to say she can apply to be reinstated to the rank of superintendent in 2 years, according to a ruling announced at her disciplinary tribunal Wednesday.
Yeah. Clark claimed she had only helped the officers because she was fed up with anti-black racism within the service, and she was tired of seeing good candidates unable to get ahead. She's cheating for them in helping them write a test. That's pretty nonpartisan as far as assessments go, to say, all right, here's the answers for the test. And by the way, I assume when she says she puts people behind bars, she means those teeth. But if they're good candidates, they should be able to pass the same test as every other good candidate goes anyway. So your argument falls apart on its head. But we covered this a few weeks ago, and this is the conclusion of it.
Two-tier journalism, U.S. edition. Okay. Am I talking... well, no, we're talking about Trump. We're not RFK Jr. yet. The Trump campaign has blamed National Cemetery for confrontation during former President Trump's visit there. That incident occurred when a photographer walked around the cemetery with Trump, sparking concerns about violations of restrictions on political activities in military cemeteries. According to Arlington National Cemetery media policy, filming and photographing is not authorized for partisan, political, or fundraising purposes in accordance with the Hatch Act.
Here is an article from August of 2021. Biden gets emotional during visit to Arlington National Cemetery after announcing Afghanistan withdrawal. And in classic Democrat fashion, he's standing by himself, surrounded by nothing but dead people, wearing a mask.
Yes. It's
okay when Biden does it, but we're gonna try and stop Trump for doing it. And Kamala is the most loved candidate ever, despite doing no interviews.
I just want to bring this back up just one more time because I'm like, look at this picture. You know,
he's probably trying to play peekaboo with somebody. He's not brushing a tear from his eye. They're trying to get some cognitive reception going on in there.
DEI continues to suck. The ESG movement, which calls for public companies and investors in public companies to identify and voluntarily implement environmental, social, and governance initiatives, will cause substantial harm to the economy and workers, finds 2 new essays by the Fraser Institute. Evidence shows that ESG branded investment funds do not perform better than conventional investment funds. Companies that proclaim to pursue ESG related activities are not more profitable than companies that do. And mandating ESG related corporate disclosures impose additional costs on public companies and diverts resources away from productivity enhancing investments, harming workers.
Anybody with a lick of business sense can put this together. If you have a certain amount of money you're spending to try and keep the company going and moving forward, if you divert some of that money towards something with absolutely no outcome, you've essentially just wasted it. It's like what the government does with everything. And with less capital available to actually do things to make the company money, they're going to make less money. I don't need to spend too much time on this. I don't think. It's just that it's nice we're finally seeing some decent articles coming out of it, out on it, instead of some really hacked, hand-picked or cherry-picked surveys that we've seen maybe like 5 years ago.
This Pravda has 22 minutes. I just want everybody, before we show this video to us, I just want everybody to sit down, calm themselves. For just you're gonna want to say some things here, and realize this came out how many days ago, Twos?
2 days ago.
It came out 2 days ago. Okay, 2 days ago, and I just want, if you're driving, I just maybe you should pull over because here is the story of the week that you're just like,
this is it.
What is
this?
this?
This is it. All right. So full screen here, put it up. Just watch this. It's less than 2 minutes, but it's worth watching.
And you'll be in a world of pure disinformation. Try your luck in a truck demonstration. Let's begin. Take a spin, traveling in a world of fabrication, and we'll see Terry Fox desecration.
Who won't take a vaccine, but takes hydroxychloroquine? Threaten politicians just by typing on a screen. The anti-vax can. The anti-vax can.
It's the
I can't believe this has been on.
I want to shut it off right now.
Oompa loompa doobity dee. This is a job for the OPP. Oompa loompa.
Isn't it racist to wear Oompa Loompa face?
RCMP, this job is for you.
I never thought my life could be anything but catastrophe, but suddenly I begin to see a beautiful truck for me, 'cause I'm an emboldened bigot.
Willy Tonka. It's a world of pure imagination that will soon become a world of pure incarceration. No longer playing in downtown Ottawa.
There is no life I know to compare with pure disinformation. Living here, you be free. If you hate CBC.
I hate
That is
CBC
insane.
even more.
That is,
Yeah.
I'm almost at a loss for words, too. What do you say to that? Like, I understand why they're going down the toilet bowl as fast as humanly possible, but who on the creative writing staff went, this is a great idea. I got this idea, and it's going to be fantastic. Willy Tonka.
Well, this isn't somebody from the creative desk coming up with this.
Fair.
This is somebody from the Liberals saying, we want you to write something besmirching the truckers. And then them saying, okay, well, what can we do with this? What can we do with this? And then guys like Mark Critch, front and center here, saying, I don't give a fuck. I'm getting paid. I'll do whatever it takes to get that free money from the government. Here's the YouTube link. I've got it up. This was from a couple hours ago this morning. 161 views 2 days ago. 6 likes, 11 dislikes. Almost nobody has watched this. And I imagine it's going to blow up because it's all anybody's talking about on Twitter this morning.
Oh man, like it's just who would even want to play those parts? You couldn't pay me enough. That's Ren March 14. You got the Danger Cats chiming in. Your tax dollars paid for this, by the way. Absolutely. He says,
oh, trust me, twos. If you see the writers on this show, you'd know that it was full on the writing staff's work. Maybe, I don't know. I've never met them. I go to places like the gym.
Yeah,
as opposed to them.
Oh man, should I just buzz on? Like,
I don't know. It's astounding how bad this is. And this is what we pay for. This is congratulations, CBC. This is absolutely cementing your demise. I'm glad they did this. This should almost be the happy news.
Last week, you remember we had the people crying, right? And we're like, well, you reap what you sow. And when I watched that, I'm like, it can't burn fast enough. It cannot burn it just can't burn fast enough. CRA, more like revenue can't data. Am I right? Can't? Get it? Is this thing on? Come on, guys. Twos told me this was going to be hilarious. Why did I promise to read these exactly as they're written? Damn it! Who spelled it wrong on the teleprompter? If you're just new to the show and you're like, what are these two morons doing? One of the things we changed probably, I don't know, 20-ish mashups ago is I no longer know what the headlines are going to be. And I just read straight off the teleprompter. So twos is trying to have a little bit of fun, as you can make out. Maybe you already got that. Maybe you've been here for a long freaking time, and that's totally fine. There you go. Two's having a little bit of fun. Okay. Internal research. This is Blacklock shows taxpayers can wait up to 4 hours on hold before speaking with an agent. It follows data showing agency takes 57 days to answer an email. 57 days. And then the CBC Watcher put 5-hour wait with a 48% increase at staff at the CRA. So they're getting more people. I want to show this. Okay. Look, total employment rose 15%. Federal Public Service, 43%. Canada Revenue Agency increased by 48%. And it is getting worse, not better.
Now, the knee-jerk argument for this is, well, our population has grown quite a bit, and we need more people to look after it. Two things to keep in mind. One, our population's grown by like 10% in the past several years. The other thing, so it doesn't justify a 48% increase in staffing. The other thing is we just covered the fact that none of them have jobs, so we don't need to do taxes for them.
We're paying their tax. Mother bollocks. The economics of productivity. Don Wright, former head of British Columbia's Public Service and Deputy Minister to the Premier, wrote a very true thing here the other day. This is Financial Post, by the way. In parentheses, creating jobs, he wrote, government shouldn't forget basic math. The quotation marks are because governments don't actually create jobs. They merely shuffle resources around, discouraging some activities with rules and taxes and encouraging others with subsidies, tax credits, and so on. Twos, would you like me to carry on, or would you like to hop in?
Here's where I want to jump in. You see, basically, he's a big part of this is that the more bullshit jobs you have, the more bullshit jobs you're going to get, and they don't actually add anything to the economy. So when you're doing things like the last 5-6 articles we covered, when we've got a whole bunch of temporary foreign workers who are fighting over Tim Hortons jobs, when we've got a whole bunch of EV manufacturers for no market demand, when we've got DEI promotions in the police for people who aren't qualified, when we have media who's paying to make bullshit things that nobody wants, and when we've got Revenue Canada agencies who can't be bothered to respond to an email in 2 fucking months, your per capita GDP is going to fucking crater. And the Liberals have tried to patch this by bringing more and more people in. Because, hey, you know what? If we bring in an extra 1,000 people that average make $2,000 a year, well, hey, you know what? That's an extra $2 million into our GDP, despite the fact that it totally craters us on a per capita basis. And they just this is the same thing Australia is doing. We cover this in another article where they're just trying to patch over their shitty policies that make bad jobs. And we just covered a half dozen examples of this in action. And this is the net result of it.
Just to hop in here, what I've pulled up on the screen when you talk about bringing in a few thousand people, Canada has recorded its largest population expansion in history, with nearly 1.3 million people added over the past year. And the massive population expansion has kept Canada out of a technical recession. But as you're pointing out, GDP per capita has collapsed and is now tracking at similar levels to a decade ago. And there you go. That's the GDP per capita. And the one above it is the population added in. There you go. Okay. So just so everybody's, adding to what you're talking about too.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I laid it out fairly well. Maybe
the visual to me is, like,
is that the black bar stays steady, even though the red bar is skyrocketing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Goofy news. Okay. Me and Twos were talking about this last week. Okay. Whether or not we add more humor into it, but at times we're wasting time on talking about just like such stupidity, And so
I find it fascinating.
Fair. So what we're doing is we're compressing a bunch of things into the new Goofy News working title. Somebody
if you got a better idea for it, throw it in the comments.
Throw it in the comments because we'll gladly work around a new title for this segment. Either way, here's a couple of headlines, a couple of stories we're following. A Wells Fargo employee who died at Tempe, Arizona office wasn't found until days later.
Yep.
Days later, dead in an
4
office.
days. 4 days.
An Ontario woman won $1,003 playing the lottery, but OLG is withholding the money as she can't remember where she bought the ticket. She says she volunteers and stops randomly to buy tickets. OLG says you must be able to identify where you bought the ticket for prizes over $1,000.
$1,000.
Yes.
So she over that threshold by $3.
Yes. $1,000.
And now they're not going to give her the ticket. Why not just give her the $1,000? Be like, keep the $3. Just give me the $1,000.
An intoxicated male allegedly claiming to be the CEO of the Toronto Raptors caused chaos at Billy Bishop Toronto Airport, City Airport, earlier this month.
Yeah, so he was running around. I don't even know how he got there, but there's a drunk guy running around the tarmac of the airport yelling about the fact that he owns the Toronto Raptors. He's basically just Ricky Bobby, like, help me, Jesus, help me, Tom Cruise.
And finally, a sexually frustrated dolphin is accused of sexually assaulting and injuring 45 people in Osaka Bay, Japan.
Yeah, so it's this serial rapist dolphin who has the yellow fever.
I look forward to hearing what headlines come up from people either.
See, how could we
commenting or
not talk
texting.
about this stuff?
I agree.
Oh,
I
sorry.
agree.
And the last one, you're missing the last one.
What's the last one?
That there's an investigation into a story about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. finding a whale washed up on the beach, using a chainsaw to cut its head off, strapping it to the roof of his minivan to drive home. And the wildlife protection people are concerned that he cut the head off this dead whale and strapped it to the roof of his minivan. Now, honestly, this is a wonderful story. If I was American, I would want to vote for him just for that.
I forgot about that one. I mean, we have to talk about them. We have to talk about them. I agree. We're just going to put them into their own goofy award. Hold my beer news. That's not bad. That's not bad, Leanne Taylor. Glenn Gilbert says mainstream news. Also not bad.
Yep. You can't make this shit up news. All right. We're going to have to do some soul searching on that. Maybe a Twitter
That's right.
poll or
That's
something.
right. Please comment away because we love reading it and we'll find something that works. And if you're listening to this after the fact, text me because we can talk about it. We can have some fun over the next couple of weeks. All right. Yeah. Palestine sees a pale rider on a pale horse. Voters. Oh, no, sorry. The Liberal Party of Canada is facing a revolt by ministerial staffing, mostly of Arab and Muslim origins, over the Trudeau government's handling of the war in Gaza and the Israel-Palestine conflict. 52 Arab and Muslim staffers working in the Liberal government signed a letter addressed to the leader of the Liberal Party that says they will not participate in the by-election campaign to hold the seat of La Salle, Amard Verdun, left vacant by the resignation of former Liberal Justice Minister David Lametti.
So David Lametti, who anybody who's been following the trucker convoy at all knows is a piece of shit, is out. Good riddance to bad rubbish. And the potential replacement the Liberals are trying to put forward is a woman whose name is Laura Palestini. Her name is Laura Palestini. And 52 Liberal staffers are mad because they're not supporting Palestine enough. And they're refusing to try and help a woman whose name is literally fucking Palestine try and win the by-election. And the best picture that Trudeau and her have is a bunch of people standing on blue pallets. I'm taking crazy pills here.
You can't make it up.
I hope we don't cover any more weird shit in any election news for the rest of this episode. What's the next headline, Sean?
BC election whirlwind. BC United leader Kevin Falcon announced that he is suspending his party's campaign and announcing all BC United supporters to unite behind John Rousted and the Conservative Party of BC.
This is big news. So the rebranded Liberal Party. Isn't it
Correct.
Funny how so many provinces are doing that? It's weird. It's almost as though it's kind of just a bad name. Anyway, the Liberal Party rebranded itself as the BC United Party,
Correct.
grabbed like 2 token conservatives and said that they were a merger. They had 26 or 28 seats in the last election. They're
the official opposition right now.
and they're now projected to lose every single one of them. Not even the leader seat. And the BC Conservative Party is projected to be the winner and the NDP as opposition. And this is before they dropped out. So this here is the last poll that came out before they dropped out. It had the Conservatives at 48, the NDP at 45, Green and BCU tied for third place with 0 seats.
Yeah. That's I don't know, that's big news. It is.
That is huge. It's a giant, it's an absolute landslide in the landscape. And I don't know why I said land so many times. The other thing here is that in an effort to attract rural voters, the BC NDP. Oh, yeah, that's actually a good one too. Throw that.
No, you want O'Toole? I'll bring you.
Yeah,
O'Toole.
this is the last death throes of a party. The BC United Party, in some of their last days door knocking, got Aaron O'Toole to try and drum up votes for them. I'm going to go ahead and say that you're not very fucking conservative as far as United Party goes if you've got Aaron O'Toole on your bench.
You know, they got the same.
And it goes so badly for them that they just bail 2 days later.
They got the same strategic advisory committee as 22 Minutes. You know, they're like, you know who would be great to bring out? Aaron O'Toole. You know, this would be a great idea.
Kim Campbell was busy that day. Sorry, guys. Okay, the other thing that they're doing is in an effort to attract rural voters is internet access is vital to a community. That's why Premier David Eby, have they dropped the writ yet? Because you can't call yourself the Premier or the Prime Minister after the writs drop. But the BC NDP government have created 208 projects to bring high-speed Wi-Fi access to rural and Indigenous communities who didn't have it before. Now, just for curiosity's sake, there's this thing called Starlink. And, oh, look, $200 in Canada to install and $140 a month. Imagine you're just going to throw millions of dollars at a problem that the private market has already solved. That's pretty much classic NDP. The NDP folks are not a serious party.
Daniel Smith annoys tubes of the week.
Where do you want to start with this?
Are we talking about internet?
Let's cover that last. Oh, second last. No, it's just, it's such a convoluted mess. Hit it wherever you want.
Well, Alberta's plan to run fiber optic lines to rural homes. I just feel like it fits in with your NDP. For internet service will cost taxpayers $10,600 per household. Putting a Starlink dish on each one would cost a few $100. Total
$200 and $140 a month. We have it right here. I don't know who's choosing policy at the UCP right now, but guys, if any of you are listening, just as a general rule, you should just maybe have a post-it note up somewhere that says, has the NDP tried to do something that we think is a good idea? Just, one of the checks and balances we need in government. Has any NDP government ever floated this idea before? And if the answer is yes, you fucking scrap it.
Yeah. There's it's on one of the posts. Maybe it was on Corey Morgan's. Anyways, it's a Government of Canada. It says, it leads off talking about this by saying fairness for every generation. And if there's something that annoys the living hell out of me, it is that line, fairness for every generation. It just, yeah. Anyways, it said fairness for every generation means making sure everyone in Canada has access to reliable and affordable high-speed internet. As Tuza just pointed out, and I mean, we can bring it up 18 times. There's this guy named Elon Musk who has this thing called Starlink, who he's literally doing that.
Yep.
He's literally done it. And when you're talking about a province that's supposed to be this, forward-thinking, Right.
low tax,
Right.
non-government intervention,
Right.
let people figure things out for themselves. Government,
Preach.
it's
Maybe-
not on brand. It's not on brand. Guys, I feel like the UCP has completely lost touch with people. Like, you've got Danielle Smith up in the skybox talking about Turkish Tylenol at Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, while everybody in the cheap seats is talking about Chinese fentanyl. You want to actually get to know people and what's going on? Go sit with them. Oh, I need to up the gift limit so I can go to hockey games. And then you go to the fucking skybox. You should be in the cheap seats and waiting in line for a hot dog and a beer like everybody else. That's where you're going to have the real conversations. And that's the other thing here. So unbuzz, because this is it. So Key and Becky, exclusive. A whistleblower has spoken to me on the record.
Oh, good thing you brought this up.
Money finance scheme to recruit socialists and pay them $200 in cash to appear and vote against Danielle Smith at the UCP AGM in November. Well, first of all, if they're socialists, they don't care about money. But this is what we want. There's a bunch of people. I'm one of them. You're talking. We're looking at doing a hospitality room. We want as many people to show up to this UCP AGM as possible. If you agree with me, great. If you don't, you're wrong, but come anyway. I just bought a UCP membership. Something I did not want to do. If you
do not agree with Twos, we want to talk to you. We want nothing more than to have that possibility.
I buy a UCP membership so that I could go to a town hall in Balzac. And then some guy I work with gets fucking stuck. Don't drive there. You're going to get stuck. He goes like 20 feet past it, gets buried deeper than the residential school remains. I show up hours fucking late, covered in mud, just as everybody's leaving. Like, I bought a UCP membership for this. Well, I bought it mainly for that, but I wanted to go to that town hall too. So anyway, we're going there. We're talking about, would you guys want to see a live stream from there? Like if we did, because it starts on a Friday, and so we have to do the mashup on Friday.
Correct.
Maybe we do it from there. I don't know. Sound off in the comments. Let us know.
So me and Twos are wondering if you want to do a live, if we did a live from the AGM. The other thing is I got this little doohickey. Nobody's going to know what the heck it is. But Twos understands. We're trying to pull together so that you can call in and have your rant or have your question or say your piece. Because me and Twos realize that this show is built on being in the stands, walking in the line or standing in the line, talking to all you. That's where the best conversations happen. So we want to try and find a way to get you a part of this. So we're actively working on it. We're going to be doing some trial runs here, and maybe, just maybe, Twos, by the time we're at the AGM, we'll have had enough of a trial run where you guys can call in and sound off. That would be a ton of fun. Just saying.
Yeah. Live show, live stream, everybody in the stands. We do call-ins. We get some kinks worked out. Maybe there's some live Q&A. I don't know. Whatever. It could be fun. I think the idea's got some potential. We got to figure out some details. And then Zane Southgate, I think he's kind of quoting why people are reticent for the internet. He says, so if we rely on the richest man on earth for our internet, we will make him more rich. And Kevin Demond, live UCP unelection coverage. All right, let's go on to the next subject.
Fairness for every generation. You want me to read it back off?
No, there's nothing to do with that. You just told me that it really annoys you, and so I threw it in as a headline real quick while you were talking. This is the next headline.
What an ass. Clever. The economics of rent control. Another idea for fairness for every generation. Bloomberg, aiming to protect low-income tenants, the government in July imposed rent controls on thousands of homes, introducing a system of rating properties based on factors such as condition, size, and energy efficiency. The Affordable Rent Act introduced rent control on 300,000 units, moving them out of the unregulated market.
This is in the Netherlands.
Yes, I should have started there. The Netherlands has the highest proportion of rent-controlled homes in Europe. Before the new law came into effect, 4/5 of the country's 3 million rental properties were subject to controls, and the law raised that to 96%, according to the Housing Ministry. The measure caps rents on about 2.5 million homes at $980 a month for households earning less than $52,000.
Don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
Well, that's
Keep up with population growth. The Netherlands needs about 100,000 new dwellings a year, but over the past decade, it's built an average of 2/3 that many. The shortfall has driven up prices for unregulated flats by 1/3 since 2012. With their properties pushed into the regulated market under the new system, many owners are choosing to sell. Here's the shortage.
Yeah.
And here's the estimated share of units before and after regulatory change. And now they're flooding the sale market because people are saying, screw it. I'm not signing up for this. I don't agree with it. It's what's happening in BC on steroids. And it's probably why all of them move out here to become dairy cartels.
Okay. Can I tell you a quick little story on capping food? I know it's not housing, but we were in Calgary.
Take out all your move it fast. We're running behind.
Okay. So we were in Calgary and we were talking about renting the different venues. And one of the venues literally said, yeah, like we can't, the cost of food's going up. They had to raise their price by 10%. And she goes, but they're talking about capping food prices. And I didn't know what to say. I was just like, that is a terrible idea. You understand it's please tell me you understand it's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I digress.
But they don't.
I don't.
They will. When we start eating the zoo animals, they're going to be like, I've always wanted to try giraffe.
I was just thinking, I'm like,
this was a bad idea.
Giraffe might taste pretty good. Who knows? The truth about gun crime. Well, are we talking violent crime here of York, I assume? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. York Regional Police are reporting a surge in some violent crimes, including homicide, shootings, and carjackings, the police chief said Tuesday. Chief Jim McSween said his jurisdiction has seen a 92% increase in shootings to date, a total of 46 since the start of the year. Coupled with a spike in gun activity in York, police have also seen 106% jump in carjackings, a total of 64 compared to the same time frame last year. Two violent crimes stuck out in the article. That is high-profile violent crimes and killings, including separate abductions and flayings of two Markham women. Markham realtor Anita Moy, a 57-year-old Ying Zhang, who police say was attacked, brutally assaulted, and abducted from her Markham workplace on July 25th. So that's two different women in very short succession.
Article from the Star. That was their main takeaways from this press conference. Let's see what our main takeaways might be from this press conference, not being from the Toronto Star, not getting the media subsidy, and not being one of the places we can't see burn fast enough.
While York Region remains very safe, we are experiencing an increase in crimes involving firearms. I want to take this opportunity to provide you with some of the data so you understand what's taking place within the region and the root cause of gun violence. In 2024, the region has seen a 92% increase in shootings, a total of 46 since January of this year. And we've also seen a 106% increase in carjackings, a total of 64 since January of this year. And equally troubling, since 2019, over a 5-year period, we've seen a 400% increase in carjackings, which are violent and traumatizing for victims.
Just pause it for a second. To be clear, carjacking is not the thing Sean gets at truck stops.
And their families. Illegal handguns have become all too easy to access with limited consequences for criminals. And almost all of the guns being used in these crimes are illegal handguns, many of which are being smuggled across the border from the U.S. This surge in gun violence can be attributed to organized crime rings who are obtaining and using illegal handguns to commit a number of offenses. Organized crime is also behind both the nationwide increases in auto thefts that we've all witnessed and the ongoing conflict in the tow truck industry.
Okay, first of all, what the fuck's going on in the tow truck industry?
I know we got to look into it.
But imagine listening to that press conference
Yes.
and writing the article that you
That I just read.
for us.
Yes.
The Canadian media is a fucking joke.
Safe Supply gets extra pudding on Wednesday. In BC, they put hard drug users who are still using into long-term care homes looking after dementia patients. I watched this video and I'm like, this is the most this is insane.
So there's these
once
two
again, this
elderly
could
people
this could have
talking.
went in the goofy news headlines, except it's so absurd that this was even thought of as an idea.
Mm-hmm. So this is them saying, well, we've got to put them somewhere. We can't just leave them in tents on the side of the river. Well, we're out of homeless shelters. Well, why don't you take them into your house? I'm not fucking taking them in my house. You fucking crazy? Let's put them into old folks' homes. That's their solution in Nanaimo. And then after it got leaked, these people went public about it. They're like, our fucking spouses were in with all these crackheads who were literally smoking crack in the old folks' home. And then the guy in charge of it's like, yeah, we're going to add some security and kind of gradually phase them out. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah. What a great way to say we fucked up. And then the second clip, this is
you wonder why. Just 1 second here. You wonder why the NDP are cratering in the BC election. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons, but this story is insane. And the video you're about to show, the piece of it, just adds even more to it. Carry on.
Okay. The NDP are mad as hell because they keep trying to point out that the Conservatives are full of a bunch of crazy right-wing lunatics who are out of their goddamn minds. And they never stop to ask themselves why they could possibly be losing in an election to a bunch of crazy right-wing lunatics who are out of their goddamn minds.
Correct.
This is literally a touch screen outside of, again, Nanaimo. This is outside of their hospital where you can get snorting kit, overdose kit, injection kit, a 3-pack. You have the option of buying a 3-pack.
They have put more technology.
Here's crack pipes.
They've put more technology tools into how to get drugs than making the government efficient.
Snorting kit, glass stem pipe, package of 1cc syringes with sharps containers so that you can safely dispose of them afterwards. She literally goes through this. This is a free touch screen. This is like going to McDonald's for crackheads. And it's outside of a hospital in Nanaimo. And you can even watch a video on how to snort cocaine. The NDP are not a serious party. I don't know why they're losing the election. It's so crazy. It's so weird.
Yeah. Well, why are we losing this election? Well, Betty, we did give away free drugs, and then we did tell people how to use them, and then we did give away like free ways to dispose it and use said drugs, and then we put those people who use the drugs in old folks' homes.
If you've got to be high on crack to vote for a party, maybe they're not a good party to vote for. Okay, the one thing we skipped past it, but just quick update: that guy who was a terrorist that got Canadian citizenship, he got it 2 years ago. He'd been applying and been denied. No red flags along the way. But when it finally got processed, he'd been a resident for the last couple years.
Ahmed Mustafa El-Didi. 6-year journey towards Canadian citizenship. Showed numerous opportunities for security officials to detect his alleged ISIS membership, starting from refugee to permanent resident to citizenship. And at no point
was anybody else at any point,
even though alarms were raised,
potential of refugees, people, terrorists posing as refugees. Did anybody ever mention that? And I wonder if they ever got called racist.
Well, the article specifically points out the fact that there was red flags, but that they didn't get looked into.
Sorry, yeah, I said that wrong, but yes, you're absolutely right. Okay, here's the next one.
Canadian sex criminals getting released of the week.
I'm getting tired of talking about this.
Yeah.
But there's at least a couple every week
Okay, so you're gonna. I'm gonna pull up
So-
Kirk Lubimoff first. Okay.
Yep.
Here's Kirk Lubimoff. He's been doing this thing. It's in today's episode of Canada's Justice System is a joke, and this is the story. Imesh Ratnayaki was using Snapchat to prey on kids in Edmonton. He would lure young girls, children as young as 11, and sexually assault them. He would also blackmail them and force them into more sexual acts by recording and sending the videos of abuse around to their school and their friends. He's been doing it for years. And he was also released on bail until police found there could be 100 victims of this pedo. Why was this predator even released on bail? How many assaulted kids is acceptable? You know,
if you're gonna release this guy on bail, do it in the middle of the fucking ocean.
There. Okay, yeah, with something tied to his legs too. You know, like I mean, at the end of the day, take him to the train station and be done with this.
Mhm.
There's like it's ridiculous. If you've been listening to the start of this, to that story, you see the ineptitude of our government. And then when it comes to victimizing children, it's like, well, give them bail.
You know what? Okay. Well, here's the thing is the NDP always try to cater their policies towards the unions. Conservatives try to cater their policies towards business people. And liberals spend a lot of time taking care of child molesters.
Do you want to pull up this guy? That was the other one.
There's another one. It happens every fucking week. We're maybe just going to touch on them, but I'm getting really tired. They still need to be talked about, but they don't need the amount of.
I think bringing, I think showing it is important. One of the things that I skipped over is Kirk Lubimoff said, "Why are you letting your children on Snapchat and different devices like that? Because that's how they're luring them out." I agree with them, and man, it's just really disturbing on the judicial system as a whole. The bail thing, especially when we go back to the Coots story, and you know, and it's just playing out right in front of our eyes. And you wonder why people are getting the hell out of Canada. And then you keep reading off all the stories. You follow this show, and you're like, man, I'm gonna need a cold shower.
How much longer before Canada becomes a sexual predator destination? You know, like Thailand. Anyways, here we go.
Liberals keeping kids safe. Health Canada is restricting the sale of nicotine pouches as of Wednesday across the country in an effort to keep them out of the hands of the use. The new restriction ban flavors limits sales to behind-the-counter pharmacies and includes strict advertising regulations. After a 6-month grace period, manufacturers will have to revise their packaging and to include warnings about nicotine addiction and ensure it's not designed to appeal to children.
So yeah, those nicotine pouches you can get that are just like this, they're illegal. So yeah, you can't have these anymore. These right here are illegal. So don't have them. Don't have a whole fucking sleeve full of them. Don't buy them so that you can sell them on the black market. Super illegal because we need to look after the kids. When terrorists come to Canada, we don't need to look after the kids. When there's violent gun crime all over this fucking country, we don't need to look after the kids. Safe supply. We can give them as much fucking crack as they want because we care about the kids. And when there's fucking pedophiles running around doing shit hundreds of times over, we don't care about the kids. But the nicotine pouches that are now illegal, that's when we start giving a shit. What the fuck is wrong with these people?
I got nothing to add. CSIS reflects on the job. It's done. I'm just going to pull up the tweet here, twos. Right there. CSIS was pleased to submit, this is CSIS Canada putting this out, by the way. CSIS was pleased to submit its self-assessment as part of the broader conversation on advancing values and ethics.
There is no validity in a self-assessment at all. Like, you guys, honestly, you should listen to this show. I give it 5 stars. Who the fuck isn't going to say that?
Yeah, I mean,
and then we wonder why nobody takes our government seriously.
You get to where we're at with everything we've just talked about for the last hour. And I don't know. And then CSIS rates itself. It's like, great, great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? I wonder if you guys could have stopped any of these people from getting in here. Ryan M, decent rant twos, much appreciated. And as always, anybody who pumps my tires gets their comment read.
Canadian polls are garbage. Okay. This is okay. New survey released by the RCMP union says 86% of Albertans want to retain their RCMP, some with local improvements. This is done by the National Police Federation that represents 20,000 RCMP members. Do you remember what we just said about like rating yourself?
There's a reason why these are back to back, Sean.
We're going to do a poll on keeping us. And we're going to say 86% of Albertans want to keep the RCMP, and they're quite happy.
Isn't it funny how you always seem to get the results you want in the poll? Is it like the fact, and then this was actually covered in news articles. This was covered as though it was a regular, nonpartisan, non-paid for poll by an organization that is looking down the barrel of being absolutely dismantled in Alberta. Do you think maybe they've got a bit of an agenda here with this poll? And it gets covered in the Canadian media like it's from Abacus or some shit. The other one is this is an updated map of a specific poll that came out. This is Atlantic Canada, and it is absolutely solid fucking blue. Polling Canada says this is such a weird poll out of nowhere. And the formative part is that in Atlantic Canada for federal polling, it has the Conservative Party at 43%, the Liberals at 25%, NDP at 15%. The Conservatives are at 43% in Atlantic Canada. Things are getting so bad out there, Sean, that the people in Atlantic Canada are ready to get jobs.
Okay.
Now here's the other thing. Legair poll online, sample size 1258. That was the federal part. The Atlantic part of it, it doesn't get mentioned in this, but the Atlantic part of this was 88 people.
If I'm all right to go back just for a second, okay? I want to go back to this RCMP thing because I was like, who the hell wrote this? And then you see that the RCMP wrote it about themselves, and you go Cision, okay? That's what this website is for anyone not watching, listening. Okay,
it got covered in a few other outlets too, though. To be clear,
no, I know, but National Police Federation, okay? And so they have the 10 stories you need to see a week in the Canadian releases, okay? And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Okay,
well, that is interesting.
What's the number one? You've listened now, folks, to an hour and 15 minutes of me and Twos basically destroying Canadian news headlines. Okay. Number one story, more McDonald's.
Oh, the weekly roundup. That's a pretty original name. Like, what if we can I copy your work? Yeah, just change it a little bit so nobody knows that you're copying off me. Go ahead.
The number one story, more McDonald's. The big arch arrives in Canada. That's the number one story. After everything we've talked about, wait, I'm just gonna scroll through their 10, okay? Air Canada comments on the end of federal conciliation. Flair Airlines declares we're the home of $1 base fare. Canada Post, $46 million in profit before tax in the second quarter. CIBC announces third quarter 2024 results.
Read the entire. Go back up. Read that entire thing about Canada Post.
Canada Post reports $46 million profit before tax in second quarter as a one-time sale of subsidiaries offset $269 million loss from operations.
All right. Okay. Keep going.
So then the CBIC, Royal Bank of Canada, reports third quarter 2024 results. Tokyo Smoke alters retail footprint.
Two of those articles were CIBC and RBC's announcing their quarterly financials.
Okay. Number 8, it's time to think outside the jar. This fall, Tim Hortons and Nutella team up to help Canadians enjoy Nutella in a new way across 6 classic Tim's menu items. All I'm pointing out is we have just went through like an insane amount of a Canadian Newsweek. Before we started this, Twos was sending me Like we're like 20 minutes out. He's like, where are you? And I'm going, Twos, stop putting new articles in the link. And he's going back and forth with me. Well, there's just so much to talk about. And I'm like, I agree. So we're trying to leave everything in the show and not cut anything out. Then I go to this place. It's trying to tell me that Albertans want to keep the RCMP. I'm like, okay, who's telling me this? Oh, the RCMP is telling me this. Then it goes on the show. Here's the top 10 things you missed in Canada. The number one story being about something on the menu of McDonald's and another one being on the menu of Tim Hortons. You know how much junk this is? It is junk. It is a whole bunch of words out there that I'm not going to utter here. I'll let Twos have fun with that. But when we get talking about the absolute, it can't burn fast enough, and people are crying because they don't know why they're losing their jobs on media. It's because of crap like this, and people see right through it, except it still gets reported, and I'm like, what is going on?
Sean, there's nothing I could say that would add to that in any bit. You hit the nail right on the head, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
What do you got for me? Happy news. Do we have happy news this week? I didn't even see it.
Yeah, we do. I forgot to put it in, so you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen the happy news. Make me smile today.
All right. So it was kind of a toss-up. This one wasn't really a noteworthy story, but it's a really unfortunate headline. So I'm just going to show it here really quick. Miracle on the highway. Mom delivers baby. Dad finds lost wedding ring days later. You may not. Your first assumption is probably wrong about this. He lost the ring, not while delivering. He lost the ring while delivering the baby, but he found it on the highway. So yeah, just think through your headlines a little bit more, folks. This is interesting because we covered the exact same thing in Saskatoon a few weeks ago. But this is community rallies behind kids after lemonade stand robbery raises $6,200 in a day. So this 19-year-old kid robs the cash jar from this lemonade stand. Word about it gets out in Chesapeake, Virginia. Virginia's for lovers, as we all know, and they all got together. All kinds of first responders showed up. You had, police, firefighters, biker gangs showed up. Everybody in town and probably all around it went and bought lemonade from these kids. And in one day, they had like $40 in the jar that kid stole. The next weekend, when they did it again, they got $6,200. And that's US. That's
humanity,
US
humanity for the win, right?
Absolutely. I can't believe that we've got to cover two fucking stories about lemonade stands getting robbed in the same summer. But I like that they turn around and do well afterwards.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, can you imagine robbing a lemonade stand? Just, oh, man. Oh, boy. Okay, I'm glad we got some happy news. Community notes. Okay, we've been talking a lot about a few different things, one of them being election coverage. We brought up the AGM and the fact that probably me and Twos are going to do a live show from there for Mashup, whatever number that becomes. But some things to mark in your calendar is election coverage that doesn't suck, folks. That's going to be Saturday, October 19th. We're doing BC. Monday, October 28th is Saskatchewan. And Tuesday, November 5th, we're going to do the United States. So that's our plan.
America.
As it sits here. Yeah, America. News coverage that doesn't suck. We also have brutality. I got to pull this up. It's in Manitoba. It's Prairie Brutality Match in Verdun, Manitoba.
And you're having a brutality match in Manitoba? That's the perfect place for it. You know why, Sean?
Why?
No one's got to worry about getting their teeth knocked out.
This is from Peter Moran out of Manitoba. He's been on a Blue Collar Roundtable. He said, Prairie Brutality Summer Match in Verdun, Manitoba this weekend, Saturday to Sunday. Shooting match meets Spartan race. Search Prairie Brutality Collective on Facebook for more information. Skill testing questions required.
What's a skill testing question in Manitoba?
I'm sure they could get creative on it.
Like, can you make your mark? Like, it's a game of tic-tac-toe, but it's only got like a box. Can you put an X in here or an O? And the first one to do it in this room wins.
Shine Christian Academy, and I should have pulled this up before I started this here. You should look through the top of the comments. I want to say there was one in there as well. But there's a What in the World conference going on. It's a fundraiser for Shine Christian Academy. That it's Kid Scotty Hall, September 28th. It starts at 8:30 a.m. You can get tickets at tickets.sca@gmail.com, or you can contact Don 780-305-1082. What in the World Conference, if you've been wondering what in the world is going on in regards to such topics as climate change, land use, 15-minute cities, technology, education, religion, and more, then we have the conference for you. Come and learn from seasoned researchers, advocates, and firsthand participants who have rubbed shoulders with some of the very movers and shakers of the globalist agendas. So all proceeds going to support Shine Christian Academy, Society of Vermilion River. And I'll talk about that more.
And this was at the start. She said Caniston Show. So Caniston, for those you don't know, a little bit south of Saskatoon, home to the world's biggest snowman. Caniston Show and Shine on Sunday. Big Mer's Deck Tunes Sunday in Dundurn. So if you're going to go to Blackstrap, swing by there. And one other final note I want to make. So Sean's been mucking around with AI and trying to do roosters and funny and interesting things. And it's been a bit of a crapshoot. And it's because he doesn't know his way around.
Oh, a bit of a crap.
You got to think your way through it. You got to
think my way through it. Do I?
It's keywords. And so I tried something where
you know what's funny, folks, is it's funny because I give twos. I send him all these different things. And now he's spurred on to do different roosters, and he's going to try and take credit. And before I allow twos to take any credit for this, because every time I say something, I told you that, I'm like, I'm eating my words here. Okay, fair enough. So now he's going to criticize me on the rooster thing. Meanwhile, I gave him the idea with a whole bunch of creative things from Grok.
He did.
Okay.
But you gotta figure out how to work. You gotta figure out how to work the algorithm. So like the first thing I tried was this. I typed into Grok, divert all computing power to most kick-ass rooster being super awesome you can possibly think of. And it did an AI picture of a regular ash Cornish rooster. Nothing spectacular about it at all. It's just standing there and that's it. It's like, what the hell? So I got to go back to the drawing board real quick. Well, it's not my drawing board. It's theirs. But here, this is how you crack the algorithm. You type in something like rooster driving a T-top Trans Am Firebird yelling, hell yeah, while shooting guns in the air, wearing sunglasses, and there's a hot chick with black hair riding shotgun with a Gadsden flag t-shirt. And I got probably the coolest picture that Grok has ever made.
I did enjoy it. I hear I'm going to pull up me and Clyde. I sat down with Clyde, do something last night. It'll come out next week. And I was telling him about this. So we walked through for a while his thread on Grok, but he started messing with Trudeau and Rooster Slurpers. So here's the first one, right? Him drinking out of a rooster cup. And then he said, I call this one talking moistly. And then I told him this is one from a while back I did. And I said, Trudeau embracing his inner rooster slurper. And there you go. So there's some fun things. For,
absolutely. And you got Clyde coming on the show in a couple days. It's going to air, right?
Yeah. Clyde's coming on in a couple days, and interesting guy. We've been talking. I've been watching more of his stuff. It's pretty. It's clever. Really it's definitely good. Up to date. Yeah,
it's fun. He's had me on live streams a few times, and I always have an absolute blast.
Well, and people should know one of his co-hosts of a lot of the shows is Marty Up North, which obviously our audience knows a lot about Marty and have a lot of time for him. So that's Mashup 122 in the books. Thanks again to Taylor King Real Estate for sponsoring the Mashup. If you're interested in sponsoring the Mashup, you can reach out to us. We'd love to team up with different people from across the board. So if it's something you want to get on board with, love to have you. Just reach out. Twos, any final thoughts from 122?
That's it, man. This was it was a roller coaster. A lot of high notes, a lot of are you fucking kidding me's, and everything in between. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah, we'll catch up to you next Tuesday, next Friday. That's logic in my brain. Yeah. Next Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're always here. Please share if you enjoyed today's show. Please like, set reminders. We'd love to have you back, and hopefully here soon, folks. We'll have this little doohickey working, and we'll give you the option of trying to call in and have a little bit of fun with us. So, twos, until next Friday.
See ya.